Okay, I don't usually upload on Saturdays. I know it. But there is a huge breaking news piece that I actually forgot to cover throughout the week. And this is actually Ben Shapiro's investigation into the DEI practices. But the thing is that we already knew that DEI was a really bad thing, but he's just exposing it in more segments. This is a segment that it should really not be in. Now, we already know about the DEIs in Delta Airlines, the DEI in all of the other major airlines throughout America for some strange reason. But the thing is, when we push DEI onto other things that really don't matter, like Silicon Valley and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter who the hell is the CEO of Facebook, who the hell is the CEO of whatever other company you want to come up with at the time. It doesn't really matter. But the thing is, when it comes to life treatment and actually things that have multiple people, like let's just say hundreds of people, like an airplane pilot or something like that, a train conductor, or a person that is in the airlines talking to the people saying, oh, you go this way and you go this way. Those are the people that actually we need to make sure that it is a fully qualified position holder that actually is in that position in the very first place. They need to make sure that we actually have the qualifications for the job before hiring the people. DEI shall not be in these positions that you have other people's life at risk. But for the things that don't really matter, yeah, go ahead. Whatever. If you want to do DEI in let's just say a I don't know, some example, a pencil company or a pen company. We don't care. But now, when we have other people's life at risk, we cannot go forward and say that we must have DEI. And we need to hire people based off, not off of qualifications for the job, but off of skin color alone, or your sex, or your gender identity. That should not be a thing at all. It's disgusting that we even have this, and especially in a doctor position, in a schooling position where you go into doctors and do surgeries and stuff like that. That's disgusting. Now, if you do follow me over at X, I did talk about this. If you do want to follow me over at X, my actual X handle is Arijo Demetrius. Now, go follow me over there if you do want to have all the up-to-date information that I get, and I will talk about on my show the coming days. But the thing is, for this one, I completely forgot about it because so many things have been happening this week. Now, starting with this, we do have the Twitter thread from Ben Shapiro. Now, I don't know if you guys read it already. If you did, then I will rehash it right here. The DEI in medicine. Now, medicine is crazy because we shall not have, like I just said, DEI in positions that we have other people's life at risk, and that's at scale. Now, you want your surgeon. You don't care what your surgeon looks like, if she's Asian, if he's Asian, if it's a black person, a white person, it does not matter. You want the most qualified position for the job because of the fact that it's a surgery. You have open heart surgery, and this person was qualified solely based off of the color of their skin. You would be a little bit scared, not based off of the qualifications. Let's just say that this surgeon had 50 years of experience, and this surgeon never messed up any former surgeries that they worked on. You would trust this surgeon with your life, and you would say, yeah, work on me, doctor, please. I would trust you over all of the other positions, all of the other physicians, I should say, because of the fact that you have the most qualifications for the job. I trust you. But now, when we sit here and put all of that aside and instead have special quotas that we want to fill, that's absurd. Now, this is exactly what Ben goes over in the Twitter thread, which we will go over, not the Twitter thread, but the X thread, whatever. I will call it both, whatever. So, starting with the first one, we actually have DEI in medicine means that even if doctors injure patients, they might still be protected, even promoted. It means that top hospitals are abandoning key metrics when hiring surgeons, and it means research by whites may be disregarded. Here's what I found. Sources tell me that Wake Forest Medical School is about to graduate Michelle Del Rizio, the med student who injured a conservative parent and bragged about it. Wake Forest allowed Ratio to lay low and take voluntary leave of absence when the scandal broke. I'm being told that UPenn Health has hired Lou Del Rizio, classmate, who said it seemed karma tick when she injured the patient that mocked her pronoun pin. Wake Forest showered Lou with the rewards of excellence in patient care, and she now focuses on LGBTQ or STVWXYZ health. Both UPenn and Lou's Medical School, Wake Forest, have attempted to hide Lou's hiring. Wake Forest didn't list Lou's hospital in graduation materials, and UPenn doesn't list Lou's medical school on its website. This is the norm in medicine. Meet award-winning Duke surgeon resident Varunish Raman. At an international DEI lecture, Raman says that his heart sinks when he has patients who watch Fox News or wear MAGA hats, then celebrates having a majority non-white population to treat. Raman adds that post-George Floyd, Duke made concerted effort to stop hiring so many walls of white men. He says that the team is now abandoning all sorts of metrics and adopting a completely holistic, their word not mine, application practice in order to recruit more women than non-white patients. Raman also tweeted that he, quote, won't amplify medical literature involving only white men, because it's not as for if white men have ever advanced medicine or anything. Varish Raman is just one example of a much larger trend. The American College of Surgeons, or ACS, recently gave its 88,000 members a definition of racism that implies it's impossible to to be racist against white people. The ACS also invited Madeline B. Torres to explain to its members that when patients see physicians who look like them, they tend to be doing better. She says that grants and awards are being distributed to surgeons on the basis of minority status. This is now the prevailing view in surgical medicine. At a recent conference on DEI at UPenn, where even Lou now works, one surgeon says that it's off-putting that so many surgeons are white men. The doctors also state that surgery needs something like the NFL's Roney Rule, which requires the teams interview minority candidates. But the doctors say that the surgery needs to be expanded version that goes farther, ensures that minority candidates are selected. It's bad enough when teachers or government bureaucrats talk like this, but valuing inclusivity over merit can literally mean life or death in surgery, and that's exactly what I'm saying. It's disgusting at this point. According to a recent Johns Hopkins study, medical error is the third leading cause of death in the United States. The only physicians that should care about it, the only thing that physicians should care about is competence. Anything else will get people killed. And this is exactly right, of course, because now when you're going and focusing on other characteristics of other people, of doctors that you would want to hire, instead of the actual, the ability to get the job done, the ability to actually get the surgery done in the right and proper way, now we will have deaths, and that will be on the doctors, and they won't be held accountable because they have all these protections in place, and it's disgusting. Now, that turns us into the update that he actually gave, and he actually has internal emails from UCLA's medical school. Okay, so that brings us into the second update that we got from Ben Shapiro, which is actually something that he requested his viewers to do. So what he did on his show was he said, listen, if you guys have any updates or any tips, please email me. And there was a lot of tips incoming. So he actually made another update on Twitter, the Twitter threads, or I should say X, the X threads. He actually said, breaking, we have obtained internal emails from UCLA's medical school, supposedly one of the best in the country. If you want to understand how DEI and anti-American hatred has mainstreamed into medical profession, you need to see this. These emails come from the mandatory class called Structural Racism and Health Equality. UCLA med students are told to read about wars of indigenous resistance, in which Native Americans killed thousands of white people, to, quote, imagine what liberation could be like. Students also were taught about blackness and integrity, and how we can imagine a world in the aftermath of settler colonialism of white supremacy. Just to really drive home the point, students were urged to read an article titled, Decolonization is Not a Metaphor. These emails from the first year class also reveal how students are engaged to listen to a podcast called Indigeni, which covers an array of unscientific nonsense, including people identifying as Two-Spirit and Womxn. WOMXN. Why is a class like this even offered, much less mandatory for med students, which lessons on autonomy, biochemistry, and saving lives were removed to add this woke indigeni nonsense into the curriculum? In the context of the medical school, these materials aren't just irrelevant, it puts the lives at risk. Medical students are being taught to disregard science and instead to build resentment toward many of their patients. This is a widespread problem. This week, we found a Wake Forest med school will graduate a student who bragged about injuring a conservative patient, and a surgeon at Duke admitted to abandoning all sorts of metrics to hire non-white surgeons. The only way to stop DEI insanity is to expose it. Do No Harm, which sent these UCLA emails to us, is doing great work at this front, but more needs to be done. We know Duke, UCLA, and Wake Forest are just at the tip of the iceberg. So it's just crazy because of the fact that now we're seeing this at the forefront of our medical student. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, we not only are seeing this in the forefront of all of the things behind the scenes in Silicon Valley and all of these other things like that, but we're also seeing it in the pilot aspect when it actually puts our life at risk. This is why Governor Ron DeSantis actually retweeted the expose that Ben Shapiro did, and he said this has to go immediately. So he took this upon himself and he said, listen, UF fired the staff in all positions related to diversity, equity, and inclusion effective immediately. Ron DeSantis retweeted that and it said, DEI is toxic and has no place in our public universities. I'm glad at Florida we are the first state to eliminate DEI, and I hope more states follow suit. And this is actually an email that a lot of people that were actually a DEI hire at these companies in Florida were actually sent. The subject was compliance in BOG Regulation 9.016 on prohibited expenditures. To comply with the Florida Board of Governors Regulation 9.016 on prohibited expenditures, the University of Florida has closed the Office of Chief Diversity Officer, eliminated DEI positions and administrative appointments, and halted DEI-focused contracts with outside vendors. This is a really big step in the right direction because we do not need this in our professions when it comes to doctors and pilots and train conductors. We don't need things like that because it puts other people's lives at risk. If you want to do things, like I said, and I keep saying, if you want to do this quote-unquote DEI, this diversity, equity, and inclusion BS, then you can do it when it does not even matter. But when it comes to things putting other people's lives at risk, that's a totally different thing. That's a total different conversation that we need to have. And that should not even be a conversation because hiring people based off of the race, sexual identity, or gender of the person is against our 14th Amendment right. So right there is a lawsuit. So with that being said, if you do like my reporting and if you do like my take on things, please consider subscribing and liking down below. And you can view all of my stuff. If it's not available on YouTube, you can view it over on X, Arujo Studios. If you do want to support me and everything I do here, you can support me by buying stuff on shop.arujo Studios, and you can use code Dimitri for 15% off, free shipping everywhere in America. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for enjoying. And if you do want to see more takes from me, I do upload a podcast episode every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for enjoying. And I hope they have a great rest of your day. Bye.